Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're returning. So I'm going to do a collective reading, so just an energy update. We're going to pull tarot and oracle tonight and look at the current energies. I have this amazing little vintage wooden bowl that I found at Goodwill, which you guys who know me, you know I'm always shopping at Goodwill. And I decided that this was going to be where I burn loose sage, and I actually threw some sweetgrass in here today. So I'm entitling this video The War of the Roses, and it's funny because I don't usually get the title before the reading, and that happened for me today. So I was thinking about doing this reading when I woke up this morning, and just, you know, what I was gonna talk about, because the energies have been really weird. And that's the best way that I can describe it. So I did a big room cleanse today. So this room was entirely smoked out. I had to leave the room. It was so smoked out. And I let it sit for about an hour. And then I came back in, opened the windows. So I had to really clear the energy, even in my space here in Sedona. And so I'm not going to talk too much. I do want to get into the reading, but I wanted to sort of let you know why I'm entitling this The War of the Roses. So regarding relationships, interpersonal relationships, whether they be romantic, whether it's in friendships, you know, inside of your work, your business, your family, it does feel that there's a lot of conflict and struggle inside of some of those relationships. And obviously the trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is sort of like, it's sort of represented in the outside, like how toxic so many situations are. And it's that wanting to be brought to light so that there can be a resolution and so that people can be free. Because that's sort of what I'm feeling. And I do have a few stories that I want to tell, but I want to get into the tarot first, because this topic has been in my atmosphere, in my aura, since 2 days before the full moon in Libra. So this is what my guides have been showing me. They've been bringing me some of this energy so that I could observe it and sort of understand what's going on, what's happening. So for many of you, you have beautiful relationships, you have a loving partner. It's not gonna apply to that. Where you feel that you're in alignment, where you feel happy, where you feel that things are balanced, this does not apply to that. But if you do have a specific situation in your life where there is this imbalance and misalignment, then this may shed some insight on you, on that for you. And if not, it could be around people that you know, because I also know that in my client sessions, that's sort of been the topic, is this War of the Roses. So I'm going to use a new deck called the Oracle of the Roses tonight. Really excited about this. And I was just thinking about the roses as being a representation of us in our purest essence, our divinity. And it's sort of a representation of the inner hieros gamos, which is Greek for sacred marriage, holy marriage. So all of us have the masculine and the feminine within us. It's the Christ Sophia, the Magdalene and the Christ, if you will. And where that's sort of maybe at odds with each other, whether it's internal or external. And we're definitely seeing this play out. So again, this may not be about you specifically, but perhaps it's coming into your awareness in terms of other people in your life, because I know that this has been a topic of conversation between myself and some of my friends, and where we're like connecting the dots together inside of this time, this current energy. So, all right, let's start with a message from Alice the Wonderland, since whenever things get weird, I reach for this deck, plain and simple. So let's just call in the guides and the archangels at the four corners. I'm looking up at Metatron there. This one wanted to come flying out. Yeah, all in the golden afternoon. Okay, so all in the golden afternoon. And this says inspiration, creative spark, imagination, and conception, which is so interesting. And it's almost like, I love this deck because it reminds me, like each Each piece almost looks like a Monet painting, and Monet is my favorite painter of all time. So there's something about our inspiration. It's very blue. It's very, very blue here. So I'm feeling like a sort of sadness from this conception, and it's a number 1. So this is the first card in the deck. So there absolutely may be sort of feeling blue. Some people may be feeling a bit of sadness, really wanting to have the inspiration, or the inspiration's there. The imagination is there. There's with the blue, and even going into like sort of the indigo color, that's the third eye and the throat chakra. So a sort of like melancholy type of inspiration. And I know what this means also because of the experiences that I was having about a week ago, where I was observing relationship dynamics between people that I didn't know. And so let me see what else comes out, and then maybe I'll mention what that was. So these two want to come out. Use your time well. And we get the Cheshire Cat here. Make every moment count. That's a number 24. So like there's this element of you know, not wasting time. So that was another big message that I was getting, and a moment's regret. Yeah, nostalgia, idealizing the past, fearing you've made a mistake. So I was feeling this, like I said, this sort of, it's like that feeling of being blue. So it's like a melancholia, maybe a melancholia for happier times, for like dreams that may seem to have been laid to waste, if you will. And that somehow there's this like darker force of time that's like the clock is ticking, or you've run out of time. And there's this energy of like, did I just waste my time inside of a relationship that hasn't been making me happy for years? So now I know I have to talk about it. When I was 2 days before the full moon, I went to a very popular spot here in Sedona. So this is all in the golden afternoon. It was a beautiful, beautiful day here in the high desert. And I went to a very popular spot for like a day out and a day hike. And there's a creek that runs through it. So a lot of people go there to go swimming and have a picnic. You can spend all day there. There's grounds where I think you can even barbecue and set up a camp, if you will. You can't spend the night. And what my friend and I, we were there together all day. And what we were noticing were a lot of couples. There were families, there were entire groups of families and friends, but there was something specific happening with the couples that were there. So this isn't like a place where you go to like climb a mountain in Sedona. It's a very leisurely sort of place to hike. The trails are such that you can really like get on the trail together and walk together. There are places where it can get a bit narrow, and it's not, you know, this is the desert. So a lot of times you do want to stay on trail so that you're not getting stuck by cactuses or cacti or whatever. But anyway, there was this theme that we were noticing of, it felt like these couples were in a place of regret for being together. Like they didn't really want to be there. Like they didn't use their time well. And something, we kept noticing it because we were sitting on this sort of rock formation, and it was almost as if nobody could see us. It was super weird. So nobody would like turn and look at us, and we were talking and laughing and whatnot. So you could probably hear us, but it was like we were cloaked. It was really interesting. So that's sort of the magic of the cat there. Like nobody could see us, all in a golden afternoon. And there was sort of like a lot of light bulb moments for us, because we were like, what is happening? It was like we were seeing the same couple over and over and over again, but they were different. And in every single case, there was this, you would see the feminine, and she would be walking like 5 to 10 steps ahead of her masculine. And the masculines were just sort of like plugging along, like walking behind their feminine, sort of dazed, like they have been doing, this has been the dance that they have been doing for a long time. It was like they were doing it because they felt like they had to do something. Okay, we're on this vacation. We came up here for the day or the weekend or the week. Let's make the best of it. But, you know, feeling like you made a mistake, and it kept happening. So it was really interesting, and it was weird. It was just weird. So on these trails, you know, you can walk together. And also, even if, let's say, the feminine wants to, you know, get in front of the masculine, maybe by a couple of steps, but there was no conversation. It felt like there was no joy. Like it was very like this energy. And I don't know what was happening. Like it was really interesting. Here is sort of like a spooky scene here. She's almost like there's like something burning in the background here. There's a ship. You can see that ship has sort of been like, I don't know what happens when a ship gets stuck on land. I know there's a term for that. There's sort of like this darker force back here who's pouring out a vessel, and there's like this sort of nefarious looking little dragon there, and she's holding this blue stone, and it just kind of goes back to this. So I think that I just saw 1111 on the timestamp. I think that there's really something about that, and that's part of this kind of weird energy, because those dynamics that my friend and I saw out on the Red Rocks that day, we then saw repeatedly. So it's like this was what the guides wanted us to see, and she and I are like really connected on a soul level. Her and I are very much on the same frequency and on the same path. And it was like, this is what our guides wanted to show us. So the War of the Roses, again, where there is this sort of misalignment inside of a lot of people's relationships in the world right now. And we're seeing it play out. There was Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. We saw it play out there. The friendship between Will Smith and Chris Rock, we saw it play out there. Now, for those of you who are really, really anti-Hollywood or have certain ideas around all of these things, I totally get it, you know, but I feel like it's worthy of talking about because it's playing out on a broader stage. And then, like, you know, I'm just seeing it in Sedona. And mind you, we are largely a tourist community. So those of us who live here, it's a very, very small number. I do feel we get shine bright like a candle here, and there's Monet, the energy of a Monet painting. So about, you know, perhaps where the relationships have been very disappointing for a lot of people out there, wasted a lot of time in them. And for those of you, like I said, watching this where you're just single and happy, you know, or you're in a very loving relationship, then it's not applying directly to your life. I really wanted to look at the broader energies of why people stay in these relationships where they are uninspired and they feel melancholy. They're yearning for something that they felt in the past. That's the energy of nostalgia and idealizing the past. And fearing that they've made a mistake. And here we get shine bright like a candle, you will make it through this. So if this energy is aligned for you, then I hope I can provide you some inspiration, because there is this like very sinister, and I love the Cheshire Cat, but it's very sinister about time and about regret, about it being too late. And I'm feeling like that may be the case for a lot of people. People are sort of there out of habit with one another. And again, like inside of whatever, friendships, jobs, relationships. So the War of the Roses. So let's pull some tarot. And then we'll get a couple of astrology cards, because I want to see like what aspects or planets or signs want to come out. So let's do like a little Celtic cross here. We'll do like a modified Celtic cross. So thank you to the guides for being here. Okay, so I'm going to take the ones that fell. Bottom of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune. I did do a video that I posted for Amber and Johnny today, and the Wheel of Fortune with the High Priestess came out as the sort of outcome for the entire thing, like meaning both of their energies combined. And so it's very karmic. This is karma playing out here. Okay, so the situation is the Page of Pentacles. So that's a new start. It's like a small step. It's just something new. It's that kind of return to optimism that you will make it through this. It's the energy of youth, right? And study and learning. And perhaps money is an issue for some people right now. And what is crossing that is money being an issue, is the Five of Pentacles. So this is what I'm seeing here with the Page of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, where a lot of people really do fear being alone. They fear abandonment. A lot of it is around self-worth, really, self-worth. So that's why I think people stay in very karmic situations. Underneath that was the Seven of Swords, and underneath that was the Four of Pentacles. So people are like holding on to a lie, even though they know it's a lie. They're still holding on to it for dear life, when really, like, the wheel wants to turn. The new opportunity, the new start, the return to this sort of optimistic, I can do anything youthful place is coming out. And I'm sorry, it's not Gemini season, it's Taurus season. Like, what the hell was I thinking? So here we get the earth energy, the return to, an earth season. So Taurus season coming in here. So a lot about people's worth, what they think that they're worth. Are they worthy of, relationships that are really aligned with the truth of who they are, of what they're really worth? Also financial losses, a job loss. So for some people where this is about jobs, it's like, well, then I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Where will I go? People are afraid of losing a home. So that's the Page of Pentacles with the Five of Pentacles there. What's coming in above is this space of needing to heal, of like having to heal something. So, the Four of Swords, like, is a time of rest. It can even be a time of like deep rest. So I feel that may, for some people, it's even, there is sort of this nostalgia around it. Underneath that is the moon. And we'll just take these together, the moon with the Nine of Swords. So there is a lot of shadow inside of these situations. There's a lot of fear. It's very like sort of subconscious. It's things that people may not even be aware of. So sort of the energies that I was seeing and just observing, and there's more to it. So I'll tell you another story now that the Wounded Warrior is coming up here with the moon. So we're getting, like, this is what's below. So above is sort of like some healing, some time to heal. But I feel like this is also, it's non-action. And this is where people are just settling and they're not taking any action. It's like, with this, use your time well, make every moment count. But then this is happening. So it's like, I get why sometimes we need to be here in the Four of Swords. It's to integrate, to process, to heal, to rest. And so that may be an energy that people need to do. This is almost guidance from spirit, just to really connect, to take a time out. What's interesting is that we see like the stained glass here in the Five of Pentacles, and it's almost like, here's where you go in and you get help. So, okay, the message I'm getting here is, instead of being out here alone, this is where you go into a sacred place. A place that you can receive help, that you can receive a respite. So almost like taking a time out. And that could be very productive for many people, is to find a place that feels safe and a place that feels holy and a place where you can rest. Because what's underneath this sort of underlying energy is like the shadow here with the moon. And a lot of fear. It's the subconscious that is very wounded. And so this is where a lot of people are just persevering through it, staying with it, while the clock ticks, and they may not really be enjoying every moment, because he's not enjoying the moment in the Nine of Wands. But it's like, well, I'm strong. I can persevere through this. And with the moon, it's out of a place of, of fear. So it's not very empowered. Like, he's even looking right at the moon, you know, like he is not happy to be in this space. So, like I said, with the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom, I just feel like it is these are very, very karmic energies, and almost like a healthy expression is needed for communication, for communication with the divine, because this is the Piscean energy of the subconscious. And we see the moon, right? Because it's the moon card, but the outline of the sun is there too. So it does show where like you can have a breakthrough even from this place, that there can be an enlightenment, and it's an illumination around where people feel so wounded, like they've been to battle so many times, and it's almost like then there's this fortress that they build around themselves that doesn't allow them to have like this breakthrough and to experience joy in a real way. There is a lot of regret here. And all right, so let's get a few more cards. Let's ask about what's hidden in this moon, because I really do want to understand this energy. So what is hidden in this moon? Wow, this is amazing. So we got the star that flipped over with the sun and the Knight of Swords. So this is that, like, the truth that wants to be expressed here. And I was feeling that, like, when my friend and I were out on the rocks and we were seeing these couples, like, there were so many of them. It was super weird. And then even that night, we saw another family out at, like, this little kitchen kind of restaurant. Like, you go up to the counter and order. And there was like this woman who was there yelling at all of the staff because they rang up her order incorrectly, or they didn't like separate the orders so that she could pay for part of it. And then I think like her sister or her sister-in-law could pay for the rest. And again, like the husband was just standing there, like not knowing what to do. Even her teenage children were there. You could sense that they felt uncomfortable, and the whole staff was like, what the hell is going on? So I feel like that is where the breakthrough and the healing happens, is in the expression of truth. Like, and this is what we're seeing inside of this Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, is like the truth is coming out, and it may be harsh. And like the things that we're hearing, you know, where Amber was unbeknownst to Johnny recording a lot of the conversations, how, and then even through the text messages and whatnot, how delicate some of those truths are, because they were harsh. And so this is very fast moving, and it's very aggressive, because I feel that it has just been stifled for so long. Like this guy has been standing there for a really long time, like guarding the fortress that are like his hidden thoughts and feelings and emotions. Like this is what he's been hiding, all of this, or she, right? Because it's not gender specific. So please don't think that I'm, you know, throwing shade on the feminine. I'm not. This is what I was experiencing though. Very interesting energies. And so, so this is where the breakthrough is actually in the truth. And this is where two people, they duke it out. This is the War of the Roses right here, where if these are things that have been suppressed, hidden, you know, not dealt with, swept under the rug, there's a lot of resentment. I feel that a lot of people feel like they gave up their dreams. It does talk about conception here. So for many people, there's children involved. There may even be where they wanted children, they couldn't have children. Like for every individual couple or person or situation, there's always a larger story around it. So where people have lost their creative spark, where people have lost their inspiration, I saw it all in a golden afternoon. And it really was a golden afternoon. It was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful day. And it just felt like all these people that we were seeing, you know, that were passing by our little, you know, corner of the park, they weren't connecting. And it's not to say that there weren't many beautiful families and groups of people that were at the park that day. There absolutely were. This was just what was sort of on the path. Like it was almost like, I don't know, if you're pulled over on the side of the road and you're just watching the cars drive by, or you're in front of your house, like if you have a front porch and there's a road and you get a decent amount of traffic, it's like the cars that drive by and you're noticing like a theme with all of these cars. That's what was happening for my friend and I. So what I love is that it's the truth. I'm going to tell it. I'm going to speak it. I'm activating my throat chakra. This could be leading into Gemini season, because I think before I said it's Gemini season when clearly it's not. It's Taurus season now or tomorrow. That's where the breakthrough is. So now with the Wheel of Fortune that we saw, we get the sun and the moon and the star. The sun and the moon and the stars. So this is huge. And this is absolutely where this is a time for destiny. This is a time for our highest self to come in. It's a time for renewed hope and healing and wishes coming true and dreams and prosperity and abundance and the promise of love and the promise of light that's there with the moon. So this is where the promise is, but it's going to come at a cost, because with the Knight of Swords, he can be like, when the Knight of Swords comes at you with his sword, it can cut. It's cutting. It's brash. It's honest. It wants to prove a point. It wants to speak its truth. And sort of after that, nothing's the same anymore. The Knight of Swords can almost be like a tornado, because it's air energy. It's a storm. It's the wind that is just disruptive. Super disruptive, and it disrupts something so that it can clear the air, and things may not look the same after that. So I'm not saying like, oh my God, everybody needs to like break up and never be together again. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that a lot of people don't belong together. And it's almost like, and at the bottom of the deck here is the Three of Swords with the Knight of Pentacles. So, and the Six of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So this is all earth energy. As we move into Taurus season. And it's almost like people are moving so slowly because, I don't know, what is it? A fear of a broken heart, a fear of betrayal. There is the fear of abandonment. This is absolutely that energy of core wounding, of self-worth, because all of the Pentacles speaks to our self-worth. So, you know, this is... you know, about balanced relationships. I think that many of these people, you know, feel obliged to each other. Many people feel obligation. That's also the King of Pentacles. I gave my word, you know, especially when it comes to family and things involving money. There may be properties involved, all kinds of things wrapped up in businesses. But I do feel this sort of sinister energy that many people have had their time wasted by someone. So where there may be one party that's still very much like in it from a heart space, the other party has sort of left the building, you know, emotionally, because I'm not seeing any cups here. I mean, the star holds both of the vessels and pours them out. So that's beautiful. The Aquarian energy, the water bearer. So that's where the emotion comes, but it comes in the healing. But here it's like, I'm just not seeing any indication that there's true love or true partnership. So, you know, again, this War of the Roses, it's where's the love? Where is the love? So let's look at the energy oracle and get some clarifiers here. I don't know if this like makes any sense to any of you, but this is what the guides have been showing me lately and wanting to make me aware of. And I get it, like This is so interesting. So before we started the reading, I lit my Michael candle because I have been feeling the need for extra protection lately. So we have Archangel Michael with the first chakra. So this is absolutely where, you know, wherever you're at in your process inside of your world, calling in that extra protection is important. Because I don't know how your full moon in Libra was. I really wish that I would have stayed home, you know, but I don't, because I feel like it was a good use of my time in that I was observing a lot of energies. A lot of times I don't go out on the full moon. We're mile high here in Sedona, so, you know, almost 5,000 feet above sea level. So we're we're that much closer to the moon, and everything's really amplified here anyway. So during that full moon, I was witnessing a lot of arguments. They were like happening right around me, like the lady at the counter. Then the same night, there was another woman who confronted another friend of mine, and they wound up having an altercation in a public space. So there is sort of this energy of like a public humiliation that I've been seeing with a lot of people being humiliated in public. And so again, calling in extra protection, even if it's not happening to you, but if that's something that you've been seeing, then that'll resonate for you. But it's also like, it's the root chakra. So that's why we're seeing a lot of pentacles here, the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. So the only court card in the Pentacles that we're not seeing is the Queen. So this is sort of where the masculine is represented with the child. So I know we had the Knight. I think that was at the bottom of the deck. So it's all this Pentacles energy. So I think that people are feeling very protective over their jobs. They don't want to lose their jobs. There is this fear here because your first chakra represents where there's this primal need to provide food, shelter, clothing. You know, it's where we feel safe. It's where we feel safe to walk through the world. Like, we're not going to be verbally attacked or physically attacked. That's coming up in the Amber and Johnny trial right now, right? So I'm really wondering, like, how many of these people that we saw were, you know, walking through the park that day and on the trail where, I don't know, like how many people sort of have these kinds of issues around whether it's finances, keeping the stability. You could sort of tell too, there were, you know, some of the people who were walking by, you could see where some of them looked a bit wealthier. They, you know, they looked like they had a bit more money. So the sort of needing to protect the finances. Well, what about the children? A lot of these couples were a bit older as well, where they may have children who were in college, even grandchildren, and they're giving a lot of their money, and it's just sort of like biding their time. But I don't know, there's just such a sense of unhappiness there. And I was feeling like a lot of the anger and the resentment, and even the woman at the counter who was just like taking all of her anger out on these people behind the counter, and just how that happens. And what makes people so emotionally charged that they're doing that to complete strangers, you know, in these public settings, and where it's really their own internal battle, their own inner war of the roses. So, all right, let's get another, yeah, bottom of the deck, Goddess of the Moon. So that night, I actually, I went home, like after the park thing, and the altercations that I was witnessing, I went home and I got my giant selenite wand, and it worked. So any of you where you do have stronger reactions to the moon, carry selenite with you leading up to the full moon, on the full moon, and even a few days after, because I felt like it was transmuting a lot of that energy. So it really, really worked. And I sleep with selenite in my bed every night. So the Goddess of the Moon at the bottom, and then underneath that is the energy of Yeshua, or Jesus, the healer of the ages. So I really love that that's there, and I've got my Jesus candle burning there. So let's get one more from this deck and just see, like, you know, what is the message from Spirit regarding all of this, because just watching all of this, you know, unfold before our eyes, I know that these things absolutely, they affect the collective energies, and it's all as above, so below, and as without, so within, because I do believe in the interconnectedness of all of us, and that's why I read for the collective. So we get a bunch of cards here. Yeah, carrying connections coming out and blossoming abundance. So I feel like, you know, with everything that everybody has sort of been through over the last 2 years, this is where, like, if this isn't what you have, you know, if this truly isn't what you have, this energy of this beautiful caring connection inside of whatever situations you're in, or for your family members, you're seeing this and it's not bringing abundance and there isn't growth, you know, then what is the point? Because I get it, we move through karmic lessons with that Wheel of Fortune there. We definitely move through karmic lessons. We learn a lot of lessons. There really is no wasted time. But once you have those aha moments, then the time to act is quickly, because I feel that for the collective, there's this very restless energy. And there's a lot happening up here in the recesses of the mind. The Gemini energy is very analytical. It, you know, it wants to move fast. It's like a game of chess. It's seeing a few steps ahead and it's just going to charge forward. So this is what really, I think that people are sort of realizing, like, this is what I want in my life. And if not, you know, again, if you're someone who's single, this may absolutely be about your friendships, and where, you know, there's vitality here. There's everything's growing. It's healthy. So healthy relationships over toxic relationships. And at the bottom of the deck was the Door to Spirit, because I do feel that a lot of people, like, in these states, they're sort of losing a connection to spirit. And that's why at first I was like, well, why is the Four of Swords showing up in the crown? And it really is, it's to have a connection with spirit, because, you know, he's inside of that sort of stained glass energy where it's like a church, you know? So it's just a connection to the divine that wants to come out. So, all right, you guys, let's get a few more messages. We'll do an astrology card, and then we'll pull some messages from the Roses deck, which I'm really excited about. I actually haven't even shuffled them yet, but that's okay. So, all right, let's see what aspects we're working with here. I can't even really tell you what's happening with the astrology. I do know that we're about to get into eclipse season. So we've got the first solar eclipse in Taurus with the new moon on the 30th. The 11th house of friends. So many of you, this is around your friendships. This is the Aquarian energy. We do have Saturn that's in Aquarius, you know, this year. Started last year. So we get the star with the 11th house. So there is... this is the collective, you know, it really is. This is the collective. So for many of you, this may be around your friendships, bigger groups. It really is a collective energy. So again, it might not, for those of you watching my channel, this may not be happening inside of your relationships. I just really wonder if you're seeing this in your world. And we get Virgo with the air element. So Mercury rules Virgo, and this is I analyze, and I feel that this is what's happening. And like, you can see, and maybe not for everybody, but I feel people are really thinking. We saw the Knight of Pentacles come out, all the Pentacles energy, the Earth energy. It's time to clean house, because Virgo is typically a sign that is very organized. It's an energy that likes to get organized, roll the sleeves up, do the planning. So it's like one step at a time. But yes, here's absolutely where our Knight of Swords is probably the most important card of this whole reading, is speaking the truth. Is the truth wanting to be acknowledged, spoken? No matter how harsh it is, the truth will set you free. The air element coming in, communication, number 39. So there you have it. All right, so let's pull some final messages. I'm going to use the magical spell cards. This is also by Lucy Cavendish. She does a lot of decks, but she does the Alice the Wonderland, and this is one of her newer decks. So let's see. I was going to do like some cards for the masculine and cards for the feminine, but I don't even think it really matters all that much, because I think no matter what you're embodying right now, or if you're a masculine or a feminine, it's not even so much about that. It's just about being inside of your truth and not holding back, whether it's, you know, just sitting down and having a conversation like, hey, I'm not feeling so satisfied, but I love you. And like, I want to work through this. Or it's like, this has got to be over, you know, like this, I got to walk away from this. I know you're not happy. I'm not happy. And taking the steps to do that, because again, that's where the sun comes in with the star. So that's really where the biggest blessing is being in our truth and speaking it and not holding back, because the Knight of Swords does not hold back. A lot of people, you know, are like scared when the Knight of Swords comes out. But I don't know, I'm just kind of like, bring it on, because if we can't be in our truth now, you know, when can we be in it? Really, when? If not now, then when? So let's get a couple of cards. Yep, it's coming out again. The bottom of the deck is friendship. So there it is again. It says, bring to me friendship true, share laughter and understanding too. And also even that, you know, inside of the job that you do, inside of your family, inside of your friendships and your romantic partnerships, that there be this element of friendship, right? Okay, so we get new beginnings. Yeah, number 44 with the butterfly. So absolutely, this is like what Spirit wants everybody to know. And I feel like the divine is going to make things uncomfortable for people that are still dealing with these karmic contracts that have run out. They've run their course. That's why we saw the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom, you know, and that's why we're seeing use your time well and this clock. The contracts have run out. So let this magic in my spell clear the space in which I dwell, around the space in which you dwell, your body, your environment, your home, the place where you go to work. If some of you go to a place where you work, you know, whatever that is, there's the new beginning. Amazing. So, all right, let's look at the Oracle of the Roses. So I have looked through them, but I have not shuffled them yet. So I hope, how is this resonating for you guys? You know, I know it's a strange topic. I know it's a bit of a different video. Like, I was really hesitant to do this because I didn't really know if it's going to resonate for any of you, or if any of you are sort of feeling these energies. Like I said, I know that this is what Spirit's been showing me just over the last week, because they want me to see this so that, I have some kind of, like a voice around it, I guess. I don't know. All right. So let's get a couple of roses here. And maybe this time we will do, we'll do a masculine card and a feminine card. So let's get one for the feminine, one for the masculine, and one for a union. So if there's someone specific on your mind, you choose which card you want, the masculine or the feminine, and the other person will be the other card, and then we'll get one for the union. All right, let's shuffle it one more time. And let's break it up. So for the feminine, I'm going to take one card. Wow. And the masculine. Masculine wanted 2. Wow. And let's get one for the bond. Wow. Okay. So I feel that this is where the War of the Roses is. We see the modern garden rose. So this is, you know, very common. In the bond, it's the outsider, number 39. And I feel that this is where the bond is. There is a disconnect here. It's like there's this energy of not being aligned with this person or this situation, this relationship, whatever it is. Even in what I was seeing, perhaps what you're seeing out in the world, where it's like you feel like outsiders to one another. There is no more ship in which to relate, right? So it's the Duchess of Edinburgh rose. So it's very royal, very regal. The red signifies a lot of passion. There's 3 here. One is in full bloom. They're sort of in different stages of blooming. Actually, there's even a 4th down there, which is still kind of like in the bud. It's still like closed up. Different stages of blooming. So I feel that in the bond, that may be where it's at, where it's different stages of evolution, different stages of blooming. So there, like I said, there isn't really a ship in which to relate, a container in which you relate, which there is relating right now. For the feminine, she's getting the alchemist and the wild rose. Barberry-leaved rose, number 3, connected to the empress, amazing. So I feel that this is where, and I feel that that's why, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to stand for a minute, but I do feel like this is where the feminines were sort of marching. It was more of like a march, like way in front of their masculines, like, like it was like to prove a point, you know, like, I don't need him, like, or like, I'm not with him, or I don't really like him. Like, that was kind of the energy. And, you know, I could be misreading it. I'm sure it wasn't like that in every single situation. But this is where if the feminine could kind of alchemize that power that she's feeling, because it did feel like she was trying to like exude some kind of a power to show, you know, because this is in a public setting, right? And these parks get very busy. Sedona is very, very busy. So if she could alchemize that into true power, perhaps she's been contained for so long inside of these situations that she knows she doesn't belong in anymore. Maybe she was someone who, you know, she raised a family with this man, or she married very young, or whatever it is. Everybody has a story. So the alchemist is that the feminine energy can turn that into something really beautiful, that she's wild, that maybe it's time for her to roam free, to grow in every single direction, right? That was sort of that conception that we saw of inspiration. And for the masculine, I love this. And I was sort of feeling this from a lot of them, because the masculines did seem to be walking a bit slower, like they weren't in a rush. So we're seeing the sensualist, modern garden rose. So another modern garden rose. And this is like that energy of it's just peachy, like it's peachy. They're just kind of going with the flow, but they're moving slower, like the earth energy, like the earth energy of the pentacles. It moves slower. And Pentacles energy, it is very sensual. It's the things you can see, feel, and touch. It's food, it's romance, it's sexuality, it's passion, it's, you know, tenderness even. So I really love that. It's La France Rose. So it's even talking about, like, I don't know, this is a very romantic energy. This, I feel, is the masculine energy being more in the flow here, but also perhaps really craving touch, craving tenderness, craving love, craving love. And they also got the architect. So I feel that it is time for the masculines to also think about building something new for themselves. Maybe something new for themselves that's more rooted in pleasure. That's perhaps it's less about duty and obligation, like we saw in all of those Pentacles cards, King of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles. It's more about building something that pleases his senses, that's more pleasurable to him. It's not out of duty and responsibility. So sort of building the life that he really, really dreams. Because remember, we saw the new beginnings there. Yeah. All right, you guys. So I don't know. I never know with these videos. Please do like, subscribe, share, however you feel called to whatever you feel called to do with this video. So I'm going to be starting your May readings next week. I have a really, really busy like 5 days ahead, and then I'm going to get into your May readings. Drop me a line in the comment box if you have any kind of decks that you'd like me to use for May, if there's anything that's calling you. I'm definitely going to be using this rose deck along with the magical spell cards. I'm not sure about the tarot yet, but all right, everybody, take really, really good care. I love you, and I will see you all soon. Namaste.